Looking to get some wins this season are the Boston Celtics, who are led by Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. And here's what Jaylen Brown had to say about some reports of friction between the two. It's sometimes fascinating to me to see such an urgency to pit us against each other. Like it has to be a Batman and Robin, or one guy or the other guy. Can't be whatever. We're just two guys that can hoop. And the reality is, two guys who can hoop can coexist. Mr. Rose, what do you think about his sentiments about the two guys that can hoop?
I just like both of their names are Jay with a Y. I like that so very much. They have that in common. But in all honesty, here's the thing. When the Boston Celtics have a closing lineup out there, one of those guys end up having to guard somebody that's taller, larger, and more physical.
It's always Jaylen Brown.
At the 4 spot.
It's Jaylen Brown.
That's their real issue. They had something going good, the Boston Celtics. They had a terrific young core. You just fleeced the NBA draft by taking Tatum when another team took Markelle Fultz, and you played them in the playoffs. One was scoring 20 points, the other guy was getting DNPs. They had a treasure chest of assets. You draft Jaylen Brown. You have two nice young all-NBA players. You flip Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving. That's the one that got away.
Whoops.
That's the one that got away.
Whoops.
And so now they're still scrambling trying to get that third best player on the Celtics that could be an all-NBA guy. Kemba came and went, right? Isaiah was a 30-point guy. Kyrie's an all-NBA guy. Kemba was injured. Now they're still trying to find a player at that spot, and they're still trying to figure out their closing lineup. So now you bring back Al Horford. And shout to Robert Williams, who again is a really good shot blocker, a great rim runner, and I like him as a young prospect. But at the end of games, in particular when they go against teams that have legitimate 4-5s with a level of physicality, they just end up being too small as it relates to giving up points in the paint, rebounding, and rim protection.
So here's my thing with them is, I love duos in the NBA, but I like complementary duos, like KP and Luka or AD and LeBron. Are Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown redundant as a duo?
I got you. I love you so very much. I called them the East Coast version of a guys that you could say the same thing about, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
They're redundant.
You right? You could say the same thing about those two guys, right?
Good. How many championships did the Clippers win?
Well, they were injured, but okay. I know what you mean. But the point means if you still have those two guys, Jacoby, it's about who you're building around them. It's the same thing with Zion and Brandon Ingram. It's who you're putting around them. You have to put guys around them that's going to complement them. We don't have to worry about them, quote unquote, coexisting. Like Jalen said, they both can ball. I ain't worried about them. I'm worried about everybody else.
That's a good point. It is time for some statue news. Jalen, you're an excellent orator, activist.
Thank you, sir.
Analyst, but you are the senior statue analyst, not just at ESPN, but in the world. And Dirks statue is going to happen in Dallas. And one thing I love about this particular statue, we know exactly what it's going to look like.
Easy like Sunday morning. What did Kareem's statue look like?
Skyhook.
What would George Gervin's statue look like? What is Dirk's statue going to look like?
Fade away, one-legged jump shot. It's already done. It's already done. It's already done.
And rightfully so. Well-deserved. Dirk played his entire career with the Mavs, brought them a championship. Mark Cuban, the owner, the coach at the time, Rick Carlisle, well-deserved for a guy that was a game-changing 25 and 10-plus guy in the playoffs every year, a 7-foot three-point shooting guy that made it vogue for the stretch four in the modern day to launch threes and nobody question anything.
We always say that not all championships are equal. Dirk's championship is worth like 3. Like it really is.
You remember who he beat?
Yeah, I know exactly who he beat. Shout out to JJ Barea, who owned that series.
Well, anytime you beat Kobe and LeBron during the same playoffs, along with Dwayne Wade, I see what you mean.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.